we go. Mark it.
Not everything makes it into the final cut. For every film, there's one originating element, the original camera negative, which is also a conformed negative. But what happens to the stuff that doesn't make it in? With this release, for the first time ever, we're going to show you some of the original removals from the nesting. And in addition to that, we'll show you an earlier cut of the film. While there are many prints, there's only one OCN. Is that a Goldberg?
74, Mark.
Every film has one original camera negative.
Wait, why is the moviola back there?
I don't know. Did you put it there?
Nope. 99, Mark.
As the director keeps it rolling, I'm starting to think the archive may be haunted. Since Vinegar Syndrome has a film archive, we're lucky to have many different image elements. How do we pick the best one? It's easy. Go to the most original. So here is reel one of the original camera negative for the nesting. So this is composed of multiple different stocks of film, cement spliced together. Within those little splices, you'll see from the side tiny little air gaps. So at the very beginning of the film, we have not original camera negative on the actual film itself. We start with color reversal intermediate, or CRI. For the original camera negative, it's quite common to have a color reversal intermediate, because in order to make a text on an image, you'll need a textless background, which is usually like a picture or a moving image, and you'll also need the actual text itself. It became very common during the actual opening titles to use CRI or internegative. What we have on the CRI is circle, circle edge code. Circle, circle is the edge code for 1979. 1979 was the year in which the nesting was mostly shot. What is important about this is the film was released in 1981. This film took a little bit longer to actually edit. So as we wind ahead in the actual film, we see the first title, or one of the known titles of this film, which is Phobia. So here we have the CRI sections cut to the original camera negative, the first piece of original camera negative which is used, which is the books in the study of the main character. Let's go to the first OCN to OCN cut. The first cut from OCN to OCN. So here we have one frame, and we have a little bit of the unique shape that they're actually going for, and then we have a more square, rectangular-ish shape. One of the most special discoveries of putting together the nesting, which again, all the materials were saved by Stephen Morowitz, was an earlier cut of the film that has never been seen before or experienced in any way outside of the people who are involved in the editing and the negative matching. This is the M&E for the nesting. This is how it was recorded, but this is actually a duped version that features only the M&E, which is the music and effects. Unfortunately, not including any of the dialogue. Here, what we have are the trims and outtakes. Trims are the little pieces at the end that you cut off to add a little bit more smoothness to the actual film. So clunkiness is caused by a lack of trimming. Whereas the cuts, as I like to call them, are sections of an earlier edit. And when we go to the next cut, we see very specifically a removed earlier cut. You can see this because it's two sections of the film which have a proper lab splice between them. And you can see there's some continuity in terms of this is the same space as it actually appears in the film itself. So with this lab splice, we can tell that there was an earlier cut of the film, and this was not just the dailies like we are going to look at soon. Another thing that's important to note with 35mm original chromogenic negative, it's very difficult to find much online thanks to this, which is 35 millimeter still photo film, and as opposed to motion picture film. This up here, if you go this direction, is the head of the film. That's what we call the top, and here is the tail. However, on photo film, what you have is the actual process of pulling one shot to the next happens side by side. One photo, second photo, second photo. It doesn't go like that, you know? So we have, luckily, thankfully, still to this day, an enormous amount of sections of the dailies. So these were the takes which were never used. Unlike the cuts and trims and outtakes, which every single thing that you'll see in that was from an earlier cut. Some of the crew members of the film jumping on frame. And this is the famous shed sequence where the sickle comes out. These are essentially unedited, unworked into the end result pieces of film material. So you'll see here, if you look very, very closely, you'll see the clapboard for the film. So I call these outtakes, but they're really essentially dailies. They're unedited, essentially taped together, and I had to go in to each different place where the tape is, remove that, and splice each of these together. With these outtakes, which never really fit into the narrative of the film, for the first time ever, you, the viewing public, will get to see what Armand Weston never wanted anybody to see. You're the first person to see it since originally this film was wound and the work print was cut on those nasty old moviolas, which still, legend says, haunt this space to this day.
There was maybe 6 or 8 months where they were in a certain area, and in that library was not just, erotica, but there were a lot of other films as well. And one of them was The Nesting.
For this release, we're going to be showing, for the first time ever, some of the trims, outtakes, and cuts from The Nesting.
A lot of people think this is a waste of time. They weren't put in the film, why touch them?
It's very rare to see stuff like this.